We all know why Lightyear is underperforming at the box office, don't we? Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Before I get into Lightyear, I just want to send another big shout out to Top Gun Maverick. This week it had the second highest earnings for a movie in its fourth week all time. Second only to Avatar. This love letter to fans is quite literally making James Cameron money, and it deserves every fucking penny. Now let's get to the topic at hand. Lightyear pulled in a very unimpressive $51 million this weekend, well under early projections for the film. It's so bad that it couldn't even top the finale of failure that is Jurassic World Dominion.
That is one big pile of shit.
Now, a lot of people are giving their own opinions about why they believe it underperformed. A lot of it has to do with your typical narratives, it's COVID's fault, or it's because people are used to watching movies on streaming now. The only reason that I don't buy into either of those is that a lot of movies this year have been breaking records, like the one I just mentioned. So if people really wanted to see Lightyear, I believe that they would have found a way to do so. A lot of people are blaming the controversial Samesex Kiss, and Chris Evans' comments related to that as a huge factor as to why people didn't want to support it.
All I can tell you, sir, is that he's gay.
I'm not going to say that it didn't contribute, but I don't think it was the main reason. Simply because most of those conversations are happening on Twitter, and that's not real life, we all know that. I don't think your regular everyday person was as aware of that situation as we all are on social media. I do think people are growing tired of Disney's lazy pandering, and slowly but surely it seems like more and more people are starting to see through that, which is encouraging.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time!
The reality is that same-sex couples exist. They've existed in movies before, they're not doing anything groundbreaking here, but you are alienating potential audiences if you try to make this movie about that one moment, especially audiences globally. The truth is that I don't believe any of these was the real reason that people decided to skip this movie. I've seen parents literally take their kids to anything that is recognizable to them. So this to me is where Pixar itself comes into play.
Why?
The truth is that Pixar hasn't been Pixar in a very long time. There was a time when they could do no wrong. They made films that connected with people of all ages. There was something about their films that appealed to everyone, and they really cornered the market on that. The issue now is that it seems like they've gotten into the business of making movies that nobody asked for. The magic is gone, and it feels like they're just going through the motions to try to capitalize on established IPs, rather than trying to be innovative, which is how they built their reputation. It sounds kind of like their parent company Disney, doesn't it? Shit does roll downhill. Guys, listen, I grew up on Toy Story. I remember being completely invested in it when I first saw the movie back in 1995. In fact, this is my original VHS copy of the movie that I'm holding right now. Not only a great animated film, but it was a great film as well. And they even made 2 sequels that were equally as good. And they basically created a perfect trilogy, which is very difficult to pull off in any era.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
But we really got everything we needed out of those characters from those first 3 movies. Toy Story 4 was not necessary and didn't need to exist. And now I believe Lightyear is falling into that same category. Nobody really asked to see the real-life adventures of Buzz Lightyear. I think that's a hard sell to any age group.
I don't care!
Buzz worked as a character because of the dynamic between him and Woody and the rest of the gang. And the main selling point of Buzz himself was the fact that he thought he was real initially and had to come to grips with the fact that he is a toy. So when you take that aspect away from him, it makes him a lot less appealing. I'm just not interested in seeing what his toy is based on. We got all we needed as it pertained to his backstory from Buzz's dialogue and interactions in those first 3 movies.
That makes sense.
Not to mention Tim Allen being synonymous with the character, and rightfully so. I think the fact that he's not voicing Buzz does have an impact on this film. Maybe more so than the studio thought it would. And you can try to justify it any way you want to. I've heard it a million times at this point. This is who the toy is based on. We know the real reason that Tim Allen is not a part of this movie, and it has nothing to do with creative choices. Because God forbid you have a difference of opinion on anything. I'm gonna be very clear. I'm not a political person at all. So I could literally give two fucks about your political opinions. If you make good movies, I'll watch them. Bottom line is that I think studios think they're so clever with these meta approaches to these established IPs. But let me just tell you, for me personally, that trend has already wore out its welcome. It's a movie within a movie, right? The justification that Tim Allen voiced the toy of Chris Evans' character makes no sense. I have a Hulk Hogan toy from the 1980s that sounds just like Hulk Hogan, and still does.
No shit.
The truth is that from the moment I saw the trailer for Lightyear, I felt nothing. It didn't look innovative, it didn't look groundbreaking, two things that the original Toy Story very much was. Now I watch a lot of movies, but right now my time is very precious, and I'm just not interested in seeing an okay movie about a beloved character from my childhood. Especially when you don't take the time to understand why people fell in love with that character to begin with. And it appears based on this weekend's box office numbers that a lot of people felt the same way I did.
Y'all be cool. Nah.